Radical feminist is essentially just it's root feminism. So that's what the word radical is sort of the Latin root. So it's sort of original feminism, you would say, sort of pre-wave, just very focused on female rights. So it's very much, understanding biological sex. Feminism only centers females, and it is against sex work, which I think is pretty fair. Not shaming sex workers as such, is it's more shaming men who treat sex workers horribly, which I think is a pretty fair position to have. Um, yeah, so I would say that, of all of the things I've read, I agree with a lot of the texts of radical feminism. I'm very much at a point where I don't want any more labels. I don't think
Hmm.
labels are helping us. Like I see sometimes there's these fightings, there's the liberal feminists, radical feminists, um, gender critical.
Equality feminists. There's so
Yeah.
many.
And I'm like, I don't think that that ultimately is doing any good. Just in terms of like, obviously, you have your opinions and things and beliefs of whatever you want, that's fine. But I think if we just sort of put these labels constantly on everything, I think that's part of the problem at the moment.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah,
it's
I completely agree.
I did have someone recently on Twitter say to me, you say you're against identity politics, but you do something just for women. I'm like, yes, but a woman isn't an identity. It's not. This is where we just are. Like the most basic thing you can separate people by is sex. It's male or female, and it's
Hmm.
not who we are. It's what we are, and it doesn't dictate really much more than that. I mean, you can be a really masculine woman, you can be a really feminine man, you can develop any kind of personality and character that you want. It's
Hmm.
just that in terms of lots of medical things and social things, whether you're male or female does make a difference. Like there's a lot of people that are saying at the moment, you can't tell whether someone's male or female by looking at them.
Yeah, I keep saying that too. And I'm like, for the most 99% of the time, you absolutely can.
100%.
Hmm.
Um, when you're walking down the street, you know who's walking towards you. Your brain is processing that, whether you're acknowledging it on a conscious level. You
Hmm.
know. You can't trick your brain. No one's walking down the street going, everyone's non-binary until they tell me otherwise. It just doesn't, your brain doesn't work like that. We have survival instincts. We have inbuilt prejudice.
So, what do you think the point is of that to eliminate gender, essentially? Because that's what I see with the activists. It's
Yeah.
mostly like abolishing the idea of feminine, masculine. Like everyone, like you said, is kind of to be assumed genderless until they tell you their pronoun.
Mm. Well, I would say that it would actually be if you were going for the proper actual destruction of gender in a positive way. It's feminists who are doing that and always have been. That's essentially what feminism has always been, that, just because you're a woman doesn't mean you have to be in a kitchen cooking or raising children, staying at home. You don't have to wear dresses. I mean, back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, only men were allowed to ride bicycles. It was women who had to fight for the right to be able to ride a bicycle. It was considered a masculine thing. So that's essentially always been feminism's job, and done it slowly but surely, and I think in a really positive way. The activists, what they're doing at the moment, they're not saying that, they're not sort of trying to abolish gender so much. They're actually trying to abolish biological sex.
Mm-hmm.
So that, oh gosh, okay, well, first, that's not a completely true statement because there's no consensus of what they're trying to do. Every single activist you speak to will say something completely different. So you have some that are trying to abolish biological sex. You have some that say that there's no such thing as biological sex. You have others who say that human beings can change biological sex. Um, none of which is true.
Mm-hmm.
Just really, really simple. If you're born female or you're born male, you will die female or you die male. That's just a fact. But how you live your life in between then is, I think, up to you. I've always been quite libertarian and stuff like this.
Mm-hmm.
That as long as it's not harming anybody else, do what you want.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're a man and you want to wear a dress and makeup, all power to you. I think that's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't make you a woman.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so that's where the conflict is between feminists and trans rights activists at the moment. And then the major issue with it is that the people making policy are adhering to this ideology of saying that human beings can change biological sex, that if a man wears a dress, he is a woman. And that's just it's not true, and it's very dangerous.